Now at 5, we'll hear from the victim of a scam convincing people their loved ones were in a car accident. Plus, a local fire chief warns about the dangers of burning in these dry conditions. And
President Biden's trip to Israel is focusing squarely on Iran. I'm Skyler Henry at the White House detailing his diplomatic priorities ahead of his summit with leaders of the Middle East.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
a Joplin resident is warning others about a cruel trick played on her through a Facebook Messenger. This is KOAM News at 5. That woman named Brooke says she received a message from someone who she thought was her grandmother on Facebook. The message claimed that Brooke's mother had died in a car accident. Later, she received another message from someone claiming to be her mother's boss, asking when the funeral was. At that point, she started thinking it might be real, so she called her mother, who answered, calming her fears.
When you get a message like that, like there's no way not to kind of go through like an emotional like roller coaster, but just to verify everything, even if it's believable and it's off an account that's believable.
There were links in the message, though Brooke did not click them. She has reported this case to police. A couple from Chanute, Kansas wanted to buy a car online, but they say they ended up empty-handed and stressed. Parker Stapp and Shauna Buchwald says they paid for an SUV on the online used car retailer called Vroom. The couple claimed they paid the down payment and register the fees to the company, and that Vroom never sent Chanute DMV the proof of purchase.
The DMV received the title, but they never sent the check or any other proof of purchase from us covering the tax title and registration that we paid for, or a bill of sale or anything. So we were never able to register that car.
Couple said they could not register or drive that SUV for months, despite it sitting in their driveway. They eventually sold the SUV back to Vroom. We reached out to Vroom, but we have not received a response. Let's check in with Nick Kelly for our first look at the weather.
Quiet once again, Dow, but with a lot of sunshine and really low humidity. We warmed up very fast throughout the day. And even though, again, it looked mighty nice outside and still does from 7th and Rangeline and across the entire region, in fact, high pressure that we had centered over northeastern Missouri the other day as well to the east of us now. So that means we are seeing that southeast flow kick back in once again at the surface. That's also what helped pump temperatures into the upper 90s to near 100 at the top of the 5 o'clock hour. And again, these humidities, they are almost bone dry, anywhere from 20 to 35% on the average across much of the region. But that same dry air is going to allow us to drop out of the 90s, 80s, and eventually back down into the lower to middle 70s as we head into tomorrow morning to get the weekend started. Dow, we'll see if we can get any rain chances on the horizon before more heat kicks in coming up in a bit.
Then, because of the high temperatures and the low precipitation lately, the fire risk in the area is high, as you might imagine. This is video of a grass fire near Joplin yesterday that burned around 100 acres. The chief of the Carl Junction Fire Department is asking people not to burn anything during these conditions. He says the fires can quickly grow out of control.
One of those things that the second that you do that, people get upset. They don't like it, and I get it, but it's one of those things is that you have to make those decisions of, you know, what's best for everyone, because I've talked to people every day over the last 2 weeks, and we've gone to several outside fires where like it's the same thing is said. I had no idea it was this dry out.
If you're unsure if a burn ban is in effect in your area, you can visit our list on our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. President Biden has received Israel's Medal of Honor, that country's highest civilian honor. It speaks to the two countries' close ties. The president is using his overseas trip to assure Israel the U.S. will not allow Iran to develop a nuclear weapon. But the countries can't agree on the best way to go about that. Reporter Skyler Henry has more details from the White House.
President Biden and Israeli Prime Minister Yair Lapid signed a joint pledge to deny Iran nuclear weapons.
You have an ironclad commitment from the United States of America to Israel's security, an ironclad commitment.
Israel is pushing the U.S. to be more aggressive against Iran.
The Iranian regime must know that if they continue to deceive the world, they will pay a heavy price.
President Biden says he wants to continue to work to try to bring Iran back to the negotiating table to find a peaceful resolution to end their nuclear program.
I continue to believe that diplomacy is the best way to achieve this outcome.
But the Israelis say that won't work.
Words will not stop them, Mr. President. Diplomacy will not stop them. The only thing that will stop Iran is knowing that if they continue to develop their nuclear program, the free world will use force.
Wednesday, President Biden told Israeli TV that all options are on the table.
Does that also mean, sir, that you would use force against Iran? Is that what that means? If needed?
That was the last resort, yes.
Friday, President Biden heads to Saudi Arabia to meet with the country's king and crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman. Skyler Henry, CBS News, the White House.
President Biden says he'll raise concerns about Saudi Arabia's human rights practices and discuss what can be done to bring down rising gas prices. The last surviving World War II Medal of Honor recipient, Herschel Woody Williams, lied in honor at the U.S. Capitol today. At 98 years old, Williams died last month in a VA medical center that bears his name. He served in Guam and Iwo Jima, where he used a flamethrower to attack Japanese troops as U.S. forces came under heavy machine gun fire. After 2 decades in the Marines, Williams continued his commitment to service by helping fellow veterans and launching a foundation to support Gold Star families. Still ahead, a historic moment for the value of the dollar and what it means for travelers. And next in Health Watch, what a new study shows about gambling addictions around the world. Topping today's Health Watch, liver disease might be linked to dementia. That's according to research in Sweden that found patients with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease had a 38% higher rate of dementia. Researchers did not find a higher rate of Alzheimer's disease. New research in Canada finds children born to mothers with polycystic ovary syndrome have an increased risk of developing health issues by age 13. Children of mothers with PCOS were 31% more likely to be admitted to the hospital with an infectious disease and 47% more likely to be admitted with allergy-related problems. PCOS is a common syndrome, a disorder of the ovaries. It affects as many as 10% of reproductive age women. A new study finds more than 10 million adults have tried to get help for addiction to gambling. Reporter Naomi Ruckham explains how gambling is becoming a global public health concern.
Research shows gambling addiction is a very prevalent problem around the world, with 1 in every 400 adults seeking help. Data in the scientific journal Addiction looked at dozens of studies over the past decade. Findings show that when it comes to moderate risk gamblers, 1 in 25 reach out for help. But for those who have a gambling problem, 1 in 5 seek help. The National Council on Problem Gambling estimates 2 million adults in the United States have a gambling addiction, and another 4 to 6 million are considered to have mild or moderate gambling problems. Approximately 85% of adults have gambled at least once in their lives, 60% in the past year. With sports betting now legal in about 35 states, the National Problem Gambling Helpline Network says last year it experienced a 45% jump in calls from the year prior. Experts say a person should seek help if they feel the need to be secretive about their gambling, have trouble controlling their gambling and can't walk away, they gamble even when they don't have the money, or if family or friends are worried. Experts recommend a wide array of treatment options for gambling addiction, including professional and non-professional treatment, along with self-help. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
Some form of gambling is legal in 48 states and the District of Columbia. Only Hawaii and Utah have completely outlawed gambling of any kind. Depression is common after suffering a stroke, but now a new study finds many stroke patients have depression before their stroke, and those depressive symptoms can worsen after the stroke. Doctors say more research is needed to determine whether depression can predict who will have a stroke. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, we're going to learn about a camp in Pittsburgh giving area girls the chance to be princesses.
Plus, even though I'm tracking potential rain chances by the weekend, that's not going to scrub out more summer heat, certainly by next week. Forecast up next. Sure enough, we were waiting to see if we had anything stay the same or improve on the drought tracker since it was updated this morning. Unfortunately, we are seeing a lot more of us going into a moderate drought, especially along and south of Interstate 44. So even though we had some thunderstorms back last Friday and back on Tuesday earlier this week, this hasn't scrubbed out the drought, and we'll see if any weekend rain chances could try to improve that before it updates again by Thursday of next week. In the short term, though, under quiet skies today and a lot of dry air, we went from the mid-90s the other day back into the mid-60s this morning, but again, dry air allows us to cool down quite a bit during the night, but it heats up fast if it stays in place during the day. So it's no wonder we took advantage of that and pushed back near 100 degrees this afternoon. Looking quiet from Indigo Sky outside of Seneca, Missouri, and from 7th and Rangeline in Joplin. We're at 99. South breeze almost pushing 10, but the dew point around 60 and pushing that humidity low at 28%. It doesn't really make it feel any hotter, but at this stage in the game, if everyone's in the upper 90s to near 100, you don't need a heat index. It's just plain old hot no matter where you are. But at least we're not worried about any big thunderstorm chances mucking up any evening plans because we are just almost bone dry at the surface. Relative humidity values between 23 and 40% all across the board. But again, it's the same dry air that'll get us out of the 90s eventually this evening, down to 81 by midnight, and then dropping back near 74 to start your Friday morning out, which, hey, even though it's going to stay hot this weekend, at least the weekend starts tomorrow. Looking at your surface map setup, there's a weak boundary out to the west that's going to try and solidify and bring us at least some rain chances potentially tomorrow, but certainly Saturday and Sunday. And even though the upper ridge has been building back in, we're still trying to see little disturbances riding around the ridge and come on through along the northwest flow of the jet. What it's going to do for us for tonight, not a lot really, we'll just keep mostly clear throughout much of the night, maybe a few clouds by the morning. Otherwise, everyone starts very mild, not warm, with temperatures around 74. With one disturbance coming our way, we can't rule out maybe a random shower or storm, mainly during the day, but eventually, or I should say across much of the area, let's just plan on a partly sunny day, and that's going to try and keep us away from 100 degrees tomorrow. 74 in the morning, 93 by noon. Let's push afternoon highs, even though I don't want to, at about 98 degrees. Going forward, maybe a random shower or storm to start Friday evening out, but plenty of cloud cover, let's say partly sunny skies, and maybe a few more chances for isolated storms with highs again in the upper 90s by Saturday. Sunday looks to be our best bet for any scattered rain or thunderstorm chances. The main emphasis of the rain looks to be shifting into the Ozarks, but we should still get at least some, thankfully, rain chances to wrap up the weekend. But look at how the upper ridge really wants to take control as we go into the middle of next week. And I don't like the numbers that I had to put on the 7-day forecast. 98 tomorrow, 99 Saturday, 94 on Sunday. Then after we push back near 100 on Monday, Dow, lower triple digits return with maybe 104 on Tuesday. The last time I seen numbers that high, this the last summer of 2012. We know how much of a scorcher that was.
Wow, and we're still have a lot of summer ahead of us. We'll see how it goes. Thanks, Nick. Hey, hold on to your crowns. Princess Camp is now in session. Pittsburgh's YMCA is hosting the annual event. During this 3-day camp, young girls make crowns, wands, and unicorn headbands. Officials say the purpose of the camp is to have fun and show the girls anything is possible.
We love seeing it be a positive experience for them because they do get to dance and have fun, but they also get to act like princesses, and we love just seeing those smiles on their faces, see their self-esteem as, you know, being a princess or having magic, and we just want to continue to empower them to have that positivity and have that joy and know that we do think that all of them are princesses.
This is YMCA's 5th year hosting Princess Camp. Coming up, details on a multi-billion-dollar deal to build a manufacturing plant in Kansas. First, though, we honor a local veteran. Kelsey Hopus joined the U.S. Army in 2013. The Erie, Kansas native was stationed in Afghanistan, and we salute Specialist Kelsey Hopus, a 4-state hero. Topping today's Consumer Watch, Panasonic has chosen Kansas as the location of a new factory that'll produce batteries for Tesla and other rechargeable vehicle makers. The $4 billion facility will be in the city of DeSoto, near Kansas City. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly said it's the single largest business investment in state history. U.S. mortgage rates are on the rise again. The 30-year fixed rate mortgage averaged just over 5.5% for the week that ended July 14th. That's according to Freddie Mac. That's up from 5.3% the week before. It's nearly twice the amount it was at this time last year. Freddie Mac's chief economist says rates are at a high not seen in more than a decade. Inflation and rising interest rates in the U.S. are actually making this a good time to travel overseas, especially to Europe. Ian Lee reports.
The weather's hot in Europe, and so are the deals. For the first time in 20 years, $1 equals €1.
Oh, it's great. The parity makes it easy for us, and our money goes a lot further now, so we can do a lot more on our trip.
Rising interest rates in the U.S. create a stronger dollar and weaken other currencies around the world. The euro is down nearly 12% since the beginning of the year. It all gives American tourists more walking around money.
We definitely will spend more.
Americans can drop more money from France and Italy to Germany and all the 19 countries that use the euro.
I would definitely spend probably a little bit more than I was expecting to bring home gifts, and probably do a little bit more shopping in the wonderful shops.
And if you're a shopaholic, that brand name might be in budget.
It's cheaper to come here and buy stuff.
And those cheaper prices might be here for a while. Economists predict the euro could drop as low as 85 cents in the near future. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
It's not just the euro that's weaker. The British pound is at a 2-year low against the dollar. Amazon's smart doorbell company Ring admits it's given law enforcement doorbell video without the owner's consent. The company told Congress in a letter earlier this month it's happened 11 times so far this year. Amazon's VP of Public Policy said Ring often makes its own good faith determinations as to whether to provide the surveillance footage. Ring currently partners with more than 2,000 law enforcement agencies that can request surveillance data from Ring doorbells. Netflix is teaming up with Microsoft to create a new ad-supported plan. The video streaming service had previously announced its intention to offer consumers a lower-cost option that would include commercials. Yesterday, it said Microsoft would be its advertising technology and sales partner in the new endeavor. In March, Netflix said its subscriber base had declined for the first time since 2011. A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, the possibility of another run at the presidency by Donald Trump. Then on KOAM News at 6, the Missouri Attorney General responds to an FBI request to audit concealed carry permits. Plus, we're going to have more on the issues a local couple says they face trying to buy a car online. And a Pitt State grad turned world champion drag racer makes a visit back to Pittsburgh. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. A group of skydivers in Ohio is reaching new heights. On the way down, the Daredevils broke the record for the largest skydiving formation with 48 people. They jumped out of 3 planes, carefully aligned to create that formation before breaking away and deploying their parachutes. That's an important step there at the end, deploying the parachute. The previous record of 33 was set more than 10 years ago. Wow. Look at that. It broke the record by 15, so it didn't just break it, it shattered that record.
If I remember my science correctly, I think the higher up you go in the atmosphere, the cooler it gets, and I bet it felt a lot more comfortable up there than it does down here. I'm sure it got warmer
as they came down.
Yeah.
It's plenty warm down here right now.
Yeah, and I'm afraid we got more heat coming, but not until we really get into the middle of next week. That's when I think triple digits are unfortunately likely for highs, but we'll go 98 tomorrow, 99 Saturday, 94 on Sunday. Hopefully we can cash in on rain chances before the heat really cranks into gear.
Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next, and of course, we're going to be right back here at 6. Let's make it a great evening.